First thing I want to ask, first and foremost, for 2021, what's been the personal highlight for you?
Since my son was born, he my forever highlight, you know what I'm saying? Watching him get bigger now, talking, walking, running around, having his own personality, like that's inspiring. I'll be watching videos with him, like, you know, of cartoons on YouTube, little baby cartoons, and I'm like, man, these videos getting like 500 million views. Like, how do I tap into what making people want to watch my shit that much? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that definitely clicks in my brain.
Do you see a little bit of yourself in your son?
I see a lot of myself. And number one, like the love for the music. Anytime you hear music, you start vibing and just vibing. So it's just crazy to see, like, he really connect with it. Give him my little keyboard at the studio, he messing around, and he know what a beat is, like he know certain different artists already. I'm like, it's crazy.
So one of the interviews I saw with Nas, he said that with you, I mean, numerous things he said about you, but one that stuck out to me is he sees pieces of all the greats in you, and you kind of mold that in your own way, and you're your own, you know, musician, your own artist. But more so, not only did he crown you Producer of the Year, he called you his Quincy.
It wasn't him like directly comparing me to Quincy, because I saw some people saying that, like, oh, like, you know how people gonna talk shit, but he's just talking about as far as the relationship, the working relationship, and beyond the music we connect. Like, we can sit and have a conversation before we even start working. It might go for an hour, it might go for 2 hours, but once we get the information that, you know, we left in the room, it goes into the music immediately. Like, we might talk, then I might pull up a beat, a couple beats, and he just like starts saying something we was just talking about.
What are those conversations like? Because I know between Sean and him, they both kind of mentioned that you kind of build this atmosphere where like the conversations in the studio create the music. Like, you can put people in the right space to become vulnerable or like put those stories out there. So what are those conversations like? He said something like he found himself like two-step into music for the first time to like stories he's telling, that he's like, oh, for the first time I'm dancing to a story I'm telling. So what are the conversations like that can kind of get that?
I mean, we talk about everything, you know, we always center it back to the music, but even if we just talking about life, family, money, whatever the case may be, we gonna figure out a way to connect that information with the music. And just like, I feel like that's why people rock with what we doing, because it's conversation pieces, like the Death Row East. That's what he was talking about. Like, you could still bounce to it, but that was because I was playing Picture Me Rolling, and I was playing All Eyes on Me non-stop while we was making Death Row East in the album, just trying to have that energy that just cut through and that's just raw. You know, he a complex rapper. He gonna say a bunch of different things with a bunch of different flows, so you gotta just complement that versus just like, okay, here go a beat, and that's it, I'm leaving the studio. I'm sitting there and I'm arranging sections of the beat, and I'm making it complement what he's doing vocally and lyric-wise.
Because there's like a certain texture to everyone's voices, especially his, and you want it to cut through.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing he mentioned about what stuck out to him with your beats, was that you were able to not try to outdo what he's doing, but also push him to get the best out of him. So that's kind of what I'm asking, is how you kind of like were able to allow your music and allow him to cut through and get the best performance.
It's just a balance. Like I said, I want it to be his essence. So anything I play him is gonna be something that I can hear him on. I'm not just playing random beats. Like, I'm playing stuff that even if it has a different texture to it that you might not be used to Nas, you know, hearing Nas over, it's still gonna have a break beat or a drum pattern that feels like I can hear Nas on this.
So between King's Disease 1 and 2, there's all sorts of cool features and everything, but one that obviously stuck out that kind of took the world by storm was Lauryn Hill. So talk to me a little bit about how that came together, if you had a role in it, or, you know, and then what was it kind of, what did it mean to you? Because that's, again, like, that doesn't happen to anybody. You know?
Yeah, nah, I never would have thought I would have something with Lauryn Hill on it, you know what I'm saying, on that level. But I mean, it just came from us making the song. Nas did 2 verses, and he was like, man, we need to get a 3rd verse on here, get a feature. And we brainstormed, we thought about a couple different people, and I guess he was having a conversation with her and sent her the song, and she immediately connected with it. Like, she did her verse within like a few days. Like, it came back to us quick, and I just was over the top about it. Like, this is unreal. You know, this is like, when I'm older, like, you know, this is something that my family could really look at, my son, and be like, you really did it on that level.
your versatility is obviously something that sticks out amongst anything else. Like, you know, everything you've worked with G Unit back in 2007,
Right.
West Coast, Canada. Like, it doesn't matter what the region is or what the sonics are. You
No,
can
it's
find a
funny
way.
because, like, going back listening to NWA, a lot of them break beats and vibes Dre was finding was really East Coast hip hop type shit, but he put funky bass lines to add the West Coast flair and element. And also, people saying or feeling like, you know, a lot of people say like in the last few years I've been going, but I've really been going since I started and just getting placements every year, you know, helping level projects up, whatever the case is. And a lot of people don't know that I was doing, you know, crazy songs for the game or crazy songs for G Unit that had the boom bap vibe to it. They thought I just was a club producer, but I've been, you know what I'm saying? I was producing for them in 07, 08, making hard gangster rap, you know what I'm saying? And people just don't know. That's why it's coming full circle right now.
And then obviously, congrats on another year of Grammy nominations. Hopefully you keep, you know, a streak going with wins and everything. But what do you take me back to, like, when you received the news of your nominations? What do you remember about those first ones when you realized you were nominated, and how does it feel now getting nominated that it's already been happening for you?
I mean, the first time was always super special, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely didn't know nothing about the politics or any of the ins and outs of the Grammys. I had went one time before, and this was probably 2 years before Niggas in Paris won. I went to see Lil Wayne and Eminem perform Drop the World, and that's a song I produced with Chasing Cash, and that was my first time, so I just was in there just peeping the whole vibe, and by the time I went back, I had leveled up and went to another level. So, you know, I mean, you can't call it, but we won. But it's crazy because the year before I won with Nipsey Hussle for Racks in the Middle, I was there for Sicko Mode for my production on that, and we lost. Way more commercially successful song, but it didn't win the trophy, so it's all a balance, you know what I'm saying? And I really got to learn, like, how, you know, you can't just think like, oh, just because this was the most commercially successful or whatever the case is, that it's gonna win a Grammy, because it's not always about that. It's about that quality. There's songs that her HER, she won a Grammy last year for like Song of the Year or something, and I think the video only had not even 1 million views on it on YouTube. You know what I'm saying, for the song that she won for. So it's, you know, we got so piped up to, you know, it's about the YouTube numbers and Spotify, and that all that can be finessed. All that could be dump some money into Spotify ads and dump some money into YouTube playlisting to make the views look crazy. But what is the music really saying? What is it really doing?
And it's been a long time coming for Producer of the Year Grammy nominations.
Crazy.
So take me back to when you got that news, because that's a whole different monumental kind of nomination. So where were you? What was going through your head? How did you feel?
I had just watched them announce that King's Disease 2 was nominated, which is big because we just won last year. So just going back to the Grammys with Nas is unbelievable for real. But a lot of people was feeling like, man, you should have got Producer of the Year last year at the Grammys too. I wasn't nominated, but this year I am. And after I seen they announced King's Disease 2, I just cut off the broadcast. Like, I was like, cool, I'm straight. I didn't even think about the fact that they was announcing Producer of the Year. People started calling me, texting me, hitting me like, yo, you nominated for Producer of the Year. I was like, man, that's unbelievable.
And I mean, the past winners are crazy. You know, you got Pharrell, I think, won it twice. Rick Rubin won it twice. Neptune's Dre, Babyface, like the list goes on and on. So describe what the win would mean to you, and have any of those past winners like inspired you.
I mean, obviously, Dre, Pharrell, Rick Rubin, all of them, different eras, different sounds, but, you know, I draw from all them, like, as far as inspiration goes. And shit, to win, man, I mean, I would feel probably how everybody else on earth would feel. Amazing about this shit. Like, you know? It's not everything, but it is something that you can appreciate, because it's like, you know, I mean, I don't know, motherfuckers be enamored over jewelry and money and all that type of shit, but I feel like a Grammy, that's something you could just have in your family that just symbolizes greatness. Like, my people was locked in, so like my family, my son, whatever, gonna be able to look and be like, yeah, my pops was really doing it. Like, most of these people, kids ain't finna inherit their jewelry and shit, like all that. But my son gonna be able to have that on the mantle forever. So You know, that's just how I look at it.
And then one thing that stuck out on Twitter is someone was saying that you were the only black producer nominated for
Yeah,
producer.
shit, I said that. A lot of us don't get that opportunity, so just to even be, you know, talked about and ranked amongst people that's doing great things. Like, most of the people probably had bigger commercial, you know, radio records. I don't know if they had as much volume and as much whatever as me, but, you know, everybody in their own world and doing what they're supposed to do. So it ain't even a thing where I'm trying to make it, you know, a black thing or whatever the case is, but, you know, that just was a fact.
Talking about the Judas and Black Messiah soundtrack, how'd you feel about getting asked to work on that and executive produce the soundtrack to such an important film? Like, what did that opportunity mean to you when you got it?
Yeah, when you get to work on something that means something, it's just a little different than just like a quick check or something like that. Like, we telling a man's story, you know what I'm saying, and trying to complement the music with that. So shit, that shit was big, and then me rapping on it, my song Broad Day, being able to produce a song and then sample my uncle's group. I sampled Troop, Spread My Wings, and use that, and that's a song, literally, that's one of the first songs I've ever heard in my life, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was my uncle's song, so that was one of the first songs to inspire me musically, and just to be able to sample it, use it, and it get used on a commercial level, high level, and I'm rapping on the shit, I can't even ask for a better turnout.
How were you able to kind of capture the raw and emotional energy of the film into the music? Because it's not, you know, it's not a normal situation to be taking a movie and then making like an inspired soundtrack.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as that particular situation, it's stuff like that's still going on, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's still present, so I'm in it. I'm seeing George Floyd, I'm seeing all the things going on. Like, Melrose is literally right here. You can walk there in 2 minutes, and that shit was burnt, like, you know, spots getting looted, burnt down, you know, beat up, whatever the case is. Like, this shit just happened like a year or 2 years ago, so it's still going on. So I was already in that mindset. I had already dropped some of them bars just off the George Floyd situation and all that. So it worked. It just worked well with the soundtrack.
And then what did you hope listeners got out of the soundtrack?
Just the emotion of what they saw in the movie, just like soulful, real, raw, and just just to match I just wanted it to match the movie.
So another big project you had was you and Big Sean.
Yeah.
And you know, from what I read, is you guys met a long time ago. So could you kind of like take me through the relationship? Because what I read was right, it was like y'all met at like the Mercer Hotel in those like legendary era of nights.
And that's when we reconnected, but because at that point I had signed to Good Music, but before I signed to Good, I met him at a studio like not too far from here, and I was just going to play him beats. One of his homies knew my homie, linked it all up, went there, played him beats, we vibed. We didn't do nothing back then, we just was vibing, and probably a couple years later, that's when I signed to Kanye, and we all ended up at the Mercer, because Sean was finishing his first album, they was working on Watch the Throne, Kanye was working on a solo album, and I was just in the pot. I ended up working on a bunch of John Legend stuff during them sessions, and I just was all over the place, and Sean was there working too, so we locked in. But how I got to this point, probably like 2018, I saw him and Nipsey together at the Jay-Z and Beyonce show at the Rose Bowl, and I hadn't seen neither one of them in a minute, probably a few years, couple years, whatever. And I just told him, like, y'all gotta pull up on me. Y'all gotta come to the studio. I'm on a whole new wave right now. Like, you know, and they both came and they both got some good music from me. You know what I'm saying? Nipsey, we won a Grammy. We, you know what I'm saying? We turned up, platinum song. And then me and Sean, we just going. This shit, you know, every song we drop is just another stepping stone for what we gonna do next.
I think you mentioned in a recent interview that Big Sean, it was $1 Million Worth of Game podcast where you mentioned he was one of the most challenging artists to work with, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So how does he challenge you? How do you challenge him?
He challenges me by never being satisfied. I might be satisfied if the shit sound good. That's just how I rock. But he might be like, nah, it sound good, but it's just a different way I could say it, or I could switch out that bar and say something different. And that just expanded my mind to be like, don't stop at the first idea. It might be something in there. You got to keep digging it for that gold till it's all the way out of there. And yeah, I mean, shit, that's pretty much what it is.
And then Sean described your production as like, it was like a new pocket, but it's recognizable. The highest level of cloth on streetwear. is I think how he put it. How do you describe the production that you have with Sean?
No, that's pretty right. But I mean, I feel like just everything custom, man. Like pretty much all my beats have a different bounce, different type of melodies, different pockets, and I practice that. I just like when I sit down, I'm not like getting a template and I'm going off of that. Like I'm going sound by sound and I'm trying to just figure out the way to make it sound like something I haven't done before.
One of the biggest moments was the video with 65,000 bees.
Yeah,
what was going through your head seeing that?
That was crazy because I was supposed to go to the video, but I had to do something else that day, so I didn't end up going. And he told me about it, but I didn't know it was gonna look that intense. And when I saw the visuals, I was like, this shit out of here, it's crazy.
So with those two collaborative projects of you executive producing, and obviously the ones before that, I want to ask, like, being the maestro, conductor, you know, as well as producer and artist, like, was that evolution a calculated target for you, or was it just like an organic thing?
It was organic just by me working, but also plotted out as well. Like I have to step it up to this level. I gotta start getting better at song making and helping structure songs and adding what I can on that side, not just a beat. Early in my career would be just taking beats to see what happened. Now it's just cultivating a real energy and, you know, guiding the song through and telling, you know, the artist to change this, or let's use this part on this part of the song, switch it around, like just trying things to keep it interesting. Yeah, I met a producer, I wish I could remember his name, older guy. He owned a studio and I rented it out for a day to work with an artist, and we ended up talking somehow. I don't even remember how we started talking, but he was like, you know, if you really want to stay in the game, you have to learn how to, you know, produce vocals, period.
And then in terms of your own artistry, you know, collaborating with such other great artists, like what have you taken and what have you implemented into your own
I take
stuff?
everything from great artists, like as far as information, like when they're in the room with me, I'm seeing how they moving, what they doing, what they thinking about, the stuff they saying, and I just soak it all up and take it in. I feel like I'm feeling like the Hulk right now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers giving me their power, shit's just crazy, man.
Like a Voltron energy.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself artist-wise evolving into next year?
Just, I mean, I feel like it's only gonna level up the more I put, you know, my work in and keep developing. I feel like I'm definitely hitting a stride in a spot where it's gonna be a different wave 2022. Like I'm just thinking about things a lot more serious, taking myself more serious and planning it out, plotting it out what I really want to do. So it's gonna be fire 2022.
Sounds like things are like strategic and intentional.
Yeah, they have to be, for real. Like you gotta be intentional, like for shit to come across to people the right way. A lot of people drop albums and, you know, there's no real concept to it, and I feel like that's where people don't connect, and that's when, you know, you get your shit called whack or whatever the case is when you're not coming from an intentional and real place. And I try to do that with every beat, every song, everything I'm doing.
I think that separates stuff that comes and goes and the things that have longevity in the industry. So another big song was obviously What You Need with Don Toliver.
Me and Don got probably close to an album worth of songs, you know what I'm saying? Same with Roddy Ricch, and I only got one song ever released with Roddy Ricch, and it has a Grammy. You know what I'm saying? One song ever released, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous to me. We just cooked that. It wasn't like, oh, I need a single right now. I hate that type of shit too. You gonna scare me off and make me not want to pull up on you if you like, oh, yo, I need this sound. I need my single. I need, like, yo, let's just work on music. Like, you don't have to put the pressure on the shit. Like, if it come out tight, it's gonna come out tight regardless. Like, the times where you in there and you stressing and it gotta be this specific thing, it's 9 times out of 10, that shit ain't gonna work out with me specifically. Like, you gotta just get in the room, let me pull some beats up or let me cook a beat and then write to that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happened.
And then obviously Sinister by Cordae, which stuck out especially because of the hook. Call Hit-Boy for beats, get 10 of them. So it's like, what did you think of that hook and him putting you in there? And then obviously how's the relationship, because clearly it sounds like there's more than just one song there.
Yeah, we, again, like I probably at least got an EP worth of shit with Cordae. And that was just another song. He stopped by, he'll pull up on me here and there, just different times, like, yo, I'm gonna slide, come hear some shit, whatever, play you something. And I always pull up beats, and he literally start, you know, he a rapper, so he gonna freestyle like to every beat, and then he'll catch a vibe and be like, yeah, this the one, let's load this up, or I'm gonna take this with me and do it at my studio. And that's what happened. He started Sinister at my studio, recorded a part of it, took it with him, and just flushed it out. Then put Wayne on it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, because obviously new school, old school kind of thing going in there, which for you, you're obviously working with a ton of new school, ton of old school type stuff. And how's it feel to get another, like you work with Wayne a lot, but like early on, Drop the World came out, and now it's kind of full circle.
That's dope. It's especially dope for Cordae, you know what I'm saying, as a rapper who kind of just came in and is respected on a rap level, to go back and forth with Wayne on a song. It's just like, that's heavy. But as far as me, like, you know, I'm trying to do a Wayne album. Like, one song is cool, but like, you know, we got a song that's 4 times platinum, bro. Pull up, you know what I'm saying? Simple math, bro.
Do you see a bit of yourself in Cordae, just from the sonics of, like, again, like your versatility, like your ability to blend nostalgia with modern is like, not too many people can accomplish that. And Cordae also does that beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, I come from the era of the OG shit, the real shit, you know what I'm saying, before it got to be kind of what it is now. But even though I'm still in the culture now and I can make any type of beat that damn near anybody can make, but I come from the era of like real gangsta rap, NWA, Dr. Dre, Chronic 2001, fucking Blueprint by Jay-Z. I'm East Coast, West Coast, just anything that sounded good, I was rocking with it. So I got them elements, but I just try to keep it modern at the same time.
10 years from now, where do you see yourself?
10 years from now, I see myself being a dad of the next legendary producer and just doing my thing still. I can't really call it, but I just know it's only leveling up, like, in my future if I keep doing what I'm doing right now.
And then the last one, you've answered this before, but maybe it's changed. You mentioned Jay-Z, other people, but dream session, album, dead or alive, anybody you want.
I'll do an album with Tupac or Biggie. That would be crazy. But right now, like Jay-Z, that would be crazy too. Like Drake, Kendrick, Roddy, send me whoever, and they gonna be straight. Who? Jeezy? Jeezy?
That's a wrap on the videos. Sean, feel free to get your photos and break the video set down.